It's true, everyone loves the 1980s. It doesn't matter when you were born or what you're into, synth pop, spandex, and giant hair are universal. And in the case of movies, we were given some of the most lasting titles of cinema in that decade too. Real high school films were invented, the coming-of-age movie was redefined thanks to the Brat Pack and John Hughes, and cheesy action movies hit their ultimate gun-toting peak. It's a hallowed period for film as much as it is parachute pants and Jane Fonda in leotards. Naturally, because the decade is now a distant, nostalgia-glazed memory smeared in Stranger Things, and everyone has mostly moved on to rose-tinting their ideas of what the 90s were, Hollywood has been given free rein to plunder some of the best movies that came out in that period, as well as jazzing up some bad ones that genuinely do deserve a second go. So let's take a look at what has come full circle and will be on our screens again soon. I am the freshly permed Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 remakes of 1980s movies coming in 2020 and beyond. 10. Clue. There hasn't been a great track record so far for movies based on board games, in all honesty, but it only takes one person to make a really good Kerplunk movie and Hollywood will go wild for adapting every single game you played on Games Night as a kid. Even before that happens though, Fox, if you remember them, have been attached to a remake of one classic board game movie in conjunction with Hasbro. They've set their sights on Jonathan Lind's Clue, which they're remaking as a worldwide mystery action-adventure movie, and as of January 2018, Ryan Reynolds was attached to star. Excitingly, it would re-team in with Deadpool writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Quite what the Disney deal means to it remains to be seen, since it wasn't announced in their forthcoming properties. But that list wasn't exhaustive, and Clue wouldn't have a release date to announce at this stage anyway. Looks like we'll have to get our detective hats on a little early for this one. 9. Alien Nation. It might not be the first movie you think of when considering classic 1980s sci-fis, but Graham Baker's buddy cop neo-noir was legitimately excellent, and of course, doesn't need remaking. Which means that there's now been a remake in the works for some time. Weirdly, Take Shelter and Mud director Jeff Nichols has been attached to the remake since 2016, and whilst it's been pretty quiet on that front, he did speak out at the end of 2018 about his plans, which might see it pushed to TV if it ends up being too big. He calls it epic and the biggest canvas he's ever painted on, but assures his fans that it will very much be in line with his usual style and absolutely won't be a case of him selling out. He was worried that the Fox-Disney deal might make things difficult, but there's no reason to think it's been cancelled right now. 8. Escape from New York. While The Rock's alleged remake of Big Trouble in Little China isn't actually a remake, because that would be sacrilege, another seminal John Carpenter movie is coming back to life in a new form. No matter how much you complain about the idea, Escape from New York is being remade. After long gestating rumours and very little progress, February 2019 saw the announcement that hotly rated director Lee Winnell had been hired to write and direct the remake. Robert Rodriguez had been attached for a long while, but he dropped out, and it now falls to Winnell to bring his remake with new elements to the screen. And if you're worried it won't do justice to the original and will end up being just another soulless cash-in, do not fret, because Winnell openly says he actively wants to retain elements of the original, but definitely will bring new ideas to the table. One of Winnell's goals is to avoid the bloated tentpole remake path that afflicted the reboots of other 1980s-era movies, such as RoboCop and Total Recall. So if he is that self-aware, hopefully we'll see something that is worth the effort. 7. Splash. Though the idea of anyone messing with a Tom Hanks movie should be cause for capital punishment, it is a painful inevitability. At least nobody's tried to remake Sleepless in Seattle yet. What they are remaking though is Ron Howard's classic mermaid comedy Splash, which saw Hanks team up with Daryl Hannah for a half-fish out-of-water romance that would make God furious, presumably. It's an odd one, but it is immediately helped by the fact that Channing Tatum has been attached to star as the Merman in a gender-swapped remake opposite his 22 Jump Street co-star Gillian Bell, who is wonderful. It will be produced by Ron Howard's Imagine, the studio the original success helped found in fact, and is currently being written, but Bell says to expect it soon. 6. Masters of the Universe. Who doesn't want to see another He-Man movie to replace the cult classic original Masters of the Universe that was so woefully received that it basically killed canon films? Dolph Lundgren has always expressed his surprise that nobody's ever remade it. But they have definitely been trying, and it finally seems like we're going to get a new version in March 2021, courtesy of directing brothers Aaron and Adam Nee. In yet more strange news, it is going to star Noah Centineo from To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which couldn't be any further from Lundgren's image if he tried. Maybe don't expect it to be the camp, muscle-bound spirit of the original though. As if that would have been a bad thing at all. 5. Flight of the Navigator. A remake of delightful childhood kidnapping movie Flight of the Navigator has been in the works since way back in 2009, when Disney was said to have hired Arrested Development writer Brad Copeland to pen the project. Since then, Colin Trevorrow has been attached and unattached, and as of 2017, a new reboot has been in the works from Lionsgate and the Jim Henson Company. That at least suggests that they won't be seeking to replace the puppetry of the original with needless CGI. The original was a crazy little gem, and has an iconic Paul Rubens vocal performance in there as Alien Al Max, so hopefully the remake will be able to channel some of that infectious spirit. 4. Firestarter. Stephen King adaptations are big business these days, and there is inevitably a growing list of works heading to the big and small screens in the next few years, with Dr. Sleep, The Tommyknockers, and In the Tall Grass leading the charge. And to add to that, the long-planned remake of Firestarter is coming, best known for helping to launch the career of Drew Barrymore, who starred as its titular pyrokinetic child. The new take on it will be produced by Blumhouse, excitingly, with Faith Akin, who directed In the Fade, hired to direct it. With superpowers all the rage in cinema, the story of a girl experimented on and then chased by the government who want to harness her powers as a weapon is a nice little fit. And it shouldn't have to work too hard to surpass the original, which panned critically and made very little money. 3. Scarface. The production story of the mooted Scarface remake has been one defined by false starts, with David Yates, Pablo Larraín, and David Ayer all mentioned as being attached at various stages. The latest name to be in the frame to direct it is Antoine Fuqua, who has been attached twice apparently, whose vision included trying to convince Denzel Washington to star in the remake. Lots of reports had previously linked Diego Luna to the title role, but that seems to have gone quiet. Whether anything could top De Palma's explosive take on the American dream in excess remains to be seen, but it is happening, even if the planned start production date has come and gone once more. 2. Highlander. While it's a different kind of action movie to what he's become known for, the news that Chad Stahelski would be taking on a Highlander remake back in 2016 was very exciting. Even if you weren't that big a fan of the somewhat glum original, you can probably accept that there's potential in the fantasy story to have another look. Stahelski said at the start of 2019 that he was working on a means to turn the story into a series that establishes more of the mythology of the immortal warriors, rather than simply making it a tale of them all being killed off in the game and revolving around the last one standing. It's definitely a legend worth exploring more, and hopefully with better results than the sequels, which range from unwatchable to just a bit uninspiring. Let's be real though, that is unlikely to happen with Stahelski in charge. 1. Flash Gordon. So utterly rooted in the early 80s camp aesthetic is Flash Gordon that the very idea of a remake in modern times would surely take some getting used to. This was a consciously kitsch, gleefully silly sci-fi fantasy after all, and those sorts of stories simply don't get told on the big screen in the same way anymore. Clearly, someone believes that to be a bit of a crime, because a remake is genuinely coming. Overlord director Julius Avery is set to write and direct since Matthew Vaughn sadly had to bow out of contention, and he's going to face some serious challenges to make sure the new take on the comics character doesn't tread too closely to Star Wars, which the comic strip's actually inspired, and Guardians of the Galaxy. There's room for them all to exist together, and if it means we can stop fighting people off who say the Flash Gordon film is no good, then that has got to be a bonus. Saviour of the universe, people! And that's our list. What other 80s movies would you want to see given a shiny new spin? Share your findings in the comments section below. I've been Ash, and this has been What Culture. Make sure to subscribe to the What Culture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching.
Look, my son. Look at the marvel that I have created. Comics. They called me a fool for trying to put a dead meme onto a t-shirt. A damn bold fool! A damn bold fool with an ass that won't quit. It got quite personal towards the end there. But look who's laughing now! Quiet! Quiet, my son, my ugly son. For my other creation rises. Look at the quality fabric, hand-stitched by blind orphans. The perfect letter spacing calculated so meticulously that Rich Hudson had an erection for months about it. And a colouring so deep that I had to buy the dye off the dark web. Oh, for God's sake, Josh!
Sorry.
Marvel. Oh no, the beast has grown angry, angered by our drab fashion choices. I am such a fool to think that it wouldn't try to infect us with its perfect design. Quick, we must do something to appease the beast. Why don't we buy one from shop.whatculture.com? Look, it's already got Scott Nash.
Oh no!
But where can I buy one? Are you kidding me? This is why I don't give you any extra lines. But also at shop.whatculture.com. Quick, let's go and buy one right now. Let's go buy one right now.
Right now.
Oh, don't you try hard now. You've already lost your bit. Oscar's in the f***ing bin. Ah, there we go. Doesn't that look better? I feel so virile and alive, and it's also fixed your hump. That's actually pretty good. Now, do yourself a favour and act like your mum and spread the love, aka her legs, and buy yourself one of these glorious dead memes on a t-shirt, courtesy of this handsome chap right here. You're very, very welcome.
Cut!
Jesus Christ, mine is so
It's
itchy.
all wet. What? It stinks.
I pissed on yours.
The worst font ever.
I want to die.